She was the first ever woman to receive Nobel Prize in the field of English literature in the year 1909. How does he get the materials to make them? He gets the materials by the big farms, the left outs of the big farms, or by thievery, by theft. The world that has not been kind to him so far, he thinks that it is equivalent to the rat trap. Hello and welcome to your prep school English classes. I am your English teacher, Kshama. In today's lesson, we are going to learn about the fourth chapter from your textbook Flamingo, named as the rat trap. Now, rat trap, isn't it funny that we are learning about rat trap today? What is happening inside, outside the rat trap? How can I describe it to you? Let's understand that in this session, we are going to learn about the author, the background, summary and recap of this entire lesson. What are the events that are taking place inside or outside this silly looking rat trap? But do I have something deeper, greater, profound things to look at? Let's find out. Now, before that, I have a couple of questions, as always, to you. How do you deal with greediness? When you want so many things at a time, that's called greediness, of course. Whenever you get something that is required for you, that's fine, that's basic. But when you want so many things at a time, which is not required for you, that's greediness. How do you deal with greediness? And does the world hesitate to be kind to poor, to the one that actually needs help? Does the world around or people around, do they hesitate to really help each other? And can kindness be of any change? Have you, is there an instance or which you have been a part of, which translated how kindness can make a lot of difference? Can you think of it? Can you recollect that instance where you got an opportunity to give back to the world around you, only goodness to the world around you? Of course, a little bit of kindness goes a long way. Whatever that you give definitely will come back to you, they say. Let's find out if it is true. The way you treat people is how you are treated, they say. Is that true? We'll find out. Moving forward, our author for today is Selma Lagerlöf. It's her name. She's a Swedish author, and they say there's no time, no particular time or age to start anything, okay? She published her first ever novel when she was 33 years old. That is an evidence for that. She was the first ever woman to receive Nobel Prize in the field of English literature in the year 1909. And she was also the first woman to be accepted as a member in the Swedish Academy. Then what were her works? Her works mostly talked about goodness, love and understanding. Later on, her works were also translated into many languages. The backdrop of this story, where is this story set in? It is set in the mines of Sweden. So she is herself an author from Sweden. Okay, she's a Swedish author. She published her first book when she was 33 years old. She's the first woman, Selma Lagerlöf is the first woman who received Nobel Prize in Literature in the year 1909. What else do we know about her? She's the first woman member who was taken in the Swedish Academy. Then we also got to know her poems or work talks about goodness, love, kindness and understanding. I hope Rat Trap, you can make out that it is also talking about something related to goodness, love and understanding. Her works were translated into many languages, and the current story is set in backdrop of what? In the mines of Sweden. Moving forward, what is the story about? We have our first character who is apparently right now asleep. He is none other than the rat trap seller, the one who sells the rat trap. I'm sure you have all seen the rat trap. Rat trap is a trap basically used to catch the rats. It's more like a box, okay, made out of strings or made out of steel. Now this rat trap seller over here sells rat traps that are made by himself. Okay, he makes them. How does he get the materials to make them? He gets the materials by the big farms, the left outs of the big farms, or by thievery, by theft. He steals the materials, but it is of no big profit to him. He will not get millions out of it. And hence, he lives the life of a sad, monotonous vagabond. He is a poor guy, with ragged clothes, sunken cheeks, eyes that are oozing out hunger. When you see him over here, this guy looks a little chubby though. Our poor rat trap seller is somebody with ragged clothes, and his cheeks are sunken deep inside into his cheekbones. When you look at him, you see that there's a lot of hunger in him. There's a lot of desperateness in him. Okay. After that, there is something special over here. We are talking about the rat trap seller and his musings. In order to keep himself and his thoughts busy, how does he feed his thoughts? There's something that interesting that he does. Now, at the moment also, I am assuming that is what he is busy doing and he is not really listening to our class. What does he do? You have all heard the sour grape story, right? The fox that thinks that the grapes are sour. Similarly, the world that has not been kind to him so far, he thinks that it is equivalent to the rat trap. The grape is sour. I'm sure the grapes are sour. How is it a bad comparison, you may ask? What is his theory? His theory is that the world is a rat trap. Why is it a rat trap? Because it has a couple of baits set in it. Bait is like an offering, okay? The world which is in a rat trap, it has a couple of offerings. What are the offerings? The land, sea, cities, oceans, all that is a part of the world is a trap, he says. Why is it a trap? It is a trap for the greedy humans. Like the greedy rats, these humans that are tempted by this world rat trap, they come, and when they are tempted so much, they surrender. They are locked by the rat trap, and there is nothing but end of everything. Some are caught and some are still circling around the bait. Now, it is true that human beings are greedy about land, about oceans, they say that this land is mine, this money is mine, I have this much property. All of this, he says, all of that he cannot have, he cannot afford. He says, this world is nothing but a rat trap, and everything that is there, the part of the world, is a bait, an offering. Once when the rat-like human beings get attracted by this bait, tempted by this bait, there it is. The end of things, they are tempted and everything comes to an end. That is his theory. That is how he keeps himself entertained. Now, what happens? How is he going to take us through the rat trap story? What is the story? Let's see. Okay, what happens in this story is that there was a little house, a grey house cottage by the side of the road, which he visits one night asking for shelter. Then there is an old man who is ready to give him shelter. Forget about ready, he is more than happy to have a company that day, because there is no wife to this old man, there are no children. So what happens? He asks for shelter and the old man gives shelter. He's happy to give shelter because there's somebody to kill his loneliness. Okay? And then he keeps the porridge pot. They also smoke tobacco roll and they have supper together. They also play cards at the end of the day. Later on, the old man tells the rat trap seller that he has been a former crofter at Ramjo Iron Works. He used to work over there. And at the end of this month, the last month of his work, he received 30 kroner payment and he has kept it in a leather pouch. He shows a leather pouch which he has hung to the panel of the window or side of the window. He has hung a leather pouch. And inside the pouch, there were 30 kroner payment that was there, 3 notes of 10 kroner. Then he finds out about that. The next day, both of them wake up. This old man goes his way, locks the house and goes his way. The rat trap seller also goes his way. But half an hour later, comes back, takes the pouch from the window, opens it, takes the 30 kroner money and goes from there. Okay. Now, what do you think the rat trap seller has done over here? What has he done here? He has actually surrendered to the rat trap theory that he was telling us about. What has he done? He has gotten tempted by the bait that was set up and he has just surrendered himself to it. Now, after taking the money, is it safe for him to take the main road and travel by the main road? So he thinks, let me go by the woods. That is easy. Let's take a hidden road and go by the woods. But what happens over there, according to his own theory, as we go by the theory, once when you give into if things are trying to lure you, if you give into the temptation, you get caught by it. You get caught by the rat trap. Similarly, he kept on walking and walking. He avoided the public highway and it was too risky, so he went inside the woods. Then, as he started moving, the woods got confusing. No matter how inside he got, there was no outside that he could see. There was no end to it where he could just come out. It just went endlessly inside. And there he was, caught inside his own rat trap. Fooled by the bait, he had gotten himself caught, right? Now, in the December darkness, he was very afraid. Where do I go? It's midnight almost. Then he hears a noise, a sound. What is the sound? Are there people coming to catch him? What is happening? Then sound is increasing when he also senses the increasing danger. At night is, of course, it is very dangerous. You can't see anything. You can't predict the danger also that is coming in your way. But there was a sound of hammer that was heard continuously. Then what does he do? It was coming from the iron mill. The name of the iron mill, we have heard this before, and catch it from there. It is Ramjo Iron Works. Ramjo Iron Works, there is a master smith and his helper or the apprentice. They are, working with a pig iron. They are stirring it. And they should be wearing actually much more, protective clothes. But all they are wearing is long shirt and wooden shoes. Later, when he walks in, when this rat trap seller walks in, they are not really surprised to have a rat seller. It is casual or usual for them to have vagabonds coming in, poor with no houses, asking for shelter and coming inside. It's not really something that new, something that they haven't seen before. So they were okay with him coming inside the ironwork place. Later on, what happens? The same night, the owner of the ironworks, Ramjo Iron Works, is the iron master who was a former comrade. He used to work in the army. So he comes for inspection the same day. It is his place. He comes for inspection and finds this rat trap seller sleeping over there. But what happens? There's another mistake that happens. But from the side of the iron master, of course, he says he mistakes the rat trap seller for Captain Van Stel. He mistakes him for another captain, for another person from his army, from that he knew from the army. His name is Captain Von Stale. He says, "Why are you here, Captain? Come to my house." To which the rat trap seller says, he doesn't deny the fact that he's not a captain or he has anything to do with army. He just says, "I'm going through bad days, so that's all. Let me just be here and I'll sleep here." But the iron master strongly urges him to come home. Now, rat trap seller who has stolen 30 kroner money from the crofter who used to work in the same iron workplace. Now, will he have the guts to go back to this same person's owner's house? It's like moving into a lion's den. So he denies it very strongly. The master goes away. Okay, he says, my wife Elizabeth that remember her? She's dead. My boys are in abroad. I and my daughter, we live here. We don't have company for Christmas. So why don't you join us? Come, Captain. He says, but no matter what he says, the rat trap seller says, no, sir, I am not coming. Definitely not coming. But a couple of minutes later, he asks him to give him company for Christmas. Master goes away, but his modest daughter returns after a couple of while with a violet who is holding her fur coat for her. She comes, her name is Edla Wilmanson. She comes and when she looks at him, she feels like this woman is able to see through this man and she thinks that maybe either this guy has stolen something from somebody or he has run away from a jail. Something like that has happened. But father tells me that he is a gentleman. He is Captain Von Stale. Let me just be modest. And she comes to him and says, father has asked me to take you. Sir, kindly come home. When beautiful young girl, asks you to come home, he couldn't deny. He also had to be modest. And he says, okay, let's go, he says, and accompanies Edla Wilmanson, goes with her. Then in the house, he follows her, takes the fur coat, gets bathed, does shaving. He is given the suit of this iron master. He wears that. Then after that, he also wears the shoe. But when he gets all suited up, gets all ready, he looks nowhere similar to Captain Von Stale. Now the iron master feels deceived. Did I just do a mistake? Oh, he also did a mistake. He did not deny the fact that he is not Captain Von Stale, did he? He did not say anything about it. Now the iron master was angry. But the rat trap seller did not do anything to defend himself. He was like, no, I'm sorry. But he does not say anything. He says, it's not my mistake, so I'm not going to defend myself. I did not say I was Captain Von Stale, did I? But the iron master says, let's call for the sheriff. Let's call the police and let him decide. At that time, the rat trap seller, out of the frustration, starts telling about his rat trap theory, and he says, look, that old crofter over there, he had set up a rat trap for the poor people, vagabonds who wander around the house, like one like me. I got tempted by it and I took it. Now, if you call the sheriff, he will take me and he will punish me. One or the other day, you will also be trapped by the rat trap, he said. And when he finished saying that, the ironmaster was like, okay, you and your rat trap theory, just get out of my house, he says. But the daughter over here is not happy to send him out. She says, we promised him the Christmas dinner. We promised him food. Now, how can we ask him to go away? When we ourselves promised him the dinner, promised him the joys of Christmas, how can we ask him to go away? That's so inhuman, she says. She stands up for the fact that she wanted to give him the food that she had made. She wanted to have company for Christmas. Then, when that happened, this rat trap seller over here slept and ate like never before. He slept for hours. He ate like anything. Okay. Then afterwards, when it was time for the presents, he was also given a couple of presents. Also, the suit that he was wearing, he was asked to keep it by the father. And he was also offered that for next Christmas, if he doesn't have any company, he was asked to come visit them. Okay. The rat trap seller was amazed, like boundless amazement was struck to him when he realized the amount of kindness this woman was showing to him and her father was also showing to him. He was just hoping that, I am just hoping that this kindness of yours does not go waste and does not make you regret. But the amount of kindness the girl, Edla Wilmanson, shows at him, he was surprised by it. But at the end of the story, there's something that happens. The next morning, when the daughter and the father, they visit the church, there they get to know about the news of the old crofter losing his 30 kroner payment or 30 kroner money, which has been stolen by a vagabond who is none other than the rat trap seller himself. Now, the father over here, when they came back, they have learned the truth. The old crofter has been robbed. They come back from the church. But by the time they come, the stranger is gone. He is not there in the house anymore. But there was nothing else that was taken from the house. They imagined that a lot of things will be stolen from our house as well now. But nothing was taken from the house. Instead, something was kept back for them. There was a gift for them. Especially for Edla Wilmanson, the girl with a big heart. Something was kept for her. Now, what was kept for her? There was a little package for Edla Wilmanson. What was there in the little package? In the package, when she opened the package, she saw that there was a rat trap. Okay, there was a rat trap, and inside the rat trap, there was a note and money. The rat trap seller had kept the 30 kroner money back. He had given the money back, and with it came a note. And the note read, it said that, since you treated me like a captain, although I was not a captain, you ended up treating me like a captain. You gave me place to sleep. You gave me food to eat. You treated me like a captain. It was more than enough for him. And since you treated me that way, I will behave that way, he says. And that is the reason I'm returning the money to you. Thank you so much for being kind with me. That's what he writes. So the rat trap seller had his own musings. He was a vagabond, very poor, who used to sell his own self-made rat traps. He was not at all rich. But one day he was given company. The old man accepted his company and also gave him food, shared a lot of things with him. Then also shared the fact that he was given 30 kroner money with the last job that he had as a crofter in Ramshaw Iron Works. Then he takes the money and gets enclosed by his own rat trap theory. Later on, a mistake was made when he seeks shelter in Ramshaw Iron Works. The master of the Ramshaw Iron Works comes over there. A former comrade comes and mistakes him for Captain Wonstale. Later on, when he goes home, he has not clarified that he is not Captain Wonstale. And when he is shaved and all suited up, he doesn't look like Captain Wonstale. And obviously, the Iron Master realizes that it was a mistake. But just when they were about to call the sheriff or ask him to go away, the daughter stands up for him and says, we have promised him the Christmas dinner. Let us give it to him on the humanity grounds. Then, at the end, there comes a scenario where they have to question whether their mercy was, after all, a mistake. Was it a mistake? No. When you treat someone with kindness, all that comes back to you is kindness, kindness, and nothing but kindness. That's how the world operates. If you don't get the reference of this picture, I would really want you to go and read the lesson. That's the secret thing that I have in store for you all. Be kind, and that is what you will receive in return. On that note, I'll see you all in the next class. Thank you so much for sticking with me throughout this session. I'm sure you had a lot of learnings out of this session. I'll see you all. Thank you.